introduction.
Whoa, look at this crowd.
Great crowd. Some of you might not have heard of us, but we are the Roundabout Crew, as mentioned in the voiceover just then. Hello and welcome to everyone to the first ever Vidcon Australia Creator Keynote. My name's Elliot.
I'm Tom.
And I'm Kenny.
And we're the Roundabout Crew. We're an Australian sketch comedy group. We were based in Canberra, but then we realised how crap it is and we moved to Sydney.
Very cold.
If anything around Canberra here, you'd relate. You wouldn't get offended. So Vidcon put on the Creator Keynote specifically for people who are looking to create online video. Whether you're just starting or an experienced content creator, we hope that you can find information, insights and inspiration in the stories presented to you.
Dude, you nailed that.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, that was...
Yeah, you read that.
That was the first time I've read it too. So let's get things underway because no one wants to see us threaten stage. So first on our list, she is the producer of the Snapchatter of the Year Woman in Tech Shorty Award. She's a storyteller strategist specialising in micro video content. Did someone write tongue twisters on here deliberately or?
It's a stitch up.
Absolute stitch up.
Please welcome Ngyuen! Wow, they're athletic.
Hi everyone, I'm from... Where's the slides? I think they want me to dance. Slides not working. Alright, cool. So I'm from the future. 4 days ago I was in San Francisco, and the great thing about being in Australia is that we're 18 hours ahead of San Francisco. So everyone here is a futurist. Remember that? So that's amazing, right? So in the last 4 months I've been traveling around the world, visit over 3 continents, visit over 20 cities, including San Francisco, New York, and to organise fried chicken parties. So if you had to know anything about me, I love fried chicken. So and I started about 2-3 years ago, my journey about video started on Meerkat. And Meerkat died in 6 months. But within that 6 months, I was able to gain 44,000 followers, gained like a community of people around me. And one of the reasons why I went to San Francisco is to meet that community itself. Like I was able, to live in the most expensive city on top of, CBD area of a $1 million house because of Meerkat. So even if platform dies, just remember you could have the skill sets or everything that you learned on Meerkat or on dying platforms or any video platforms, you could transfer it over to the next platform. Which brings to this. So in the last 2-3 years, I've gone and experimented on all these platforms. And I won, last year, beginning of this year, I went to the Shorty Awards and won the best Snapchat channel called Women in Tech. And now I'm going to talk about the latest video platform. LinkedIn is the new Facebook for business people. And they just released videos about 3 weeks ago, and I happen to have super early access. And just be like this grandma, don't be dry as fuck. And within 3 weeks, I was able to grow from 900 followers to 2,700 people. So remember, there are 500 million business people on LinkedIn. And within 3 weeks, I was able to gain 280,000 views of traffic, organic traffic. My first video that I went on, that I uploaded natively on LinkedIn gained 100,000 views. And I was able to have consultations and everything like that. So creating content on video, especially because you guys have an unfair advantage, you know how to create awesome content. So you should jump on LinkedIn and start building up your own channels on there. So I'm giving you 3 months, 4 months ahead of being part of the game. So if you open up and download LinkedIn app and see a video camera, you pretty much could start creating videos right now and pretty much have you create your own channels. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to slay on LinkedIn and able to monetize your content straight away, because as content creators, you deserve to have every money that comes your way. So the first tip, create traffic with relevant content. Provide insights and trends, personal development stories. Share and document your creative process. So what I've done is I'm planning to be the first YouTube-like channel on LinkedIn, because no one's creating videos on a daily basis. And if you people duplicate what you did on YouTube, I'm pretty much sure that you guys will have a lot of success as well. 2, be there daily, create daily content, be super engaged, connect with your tribe. The thing about videos is like you pull the people that you want to connect with. 3, think and grow like a business. You have to survive. You have to have you have to have respect for your skills as a videographer, as a YouTuber, as a storyteller. And remember, cash flow is king because you need to eat and survive as well. And doing things for free is okay at the beginning, but don't do that forever. And use LinkedIn as an opportunity to connect with other business mentors as well. And here's like a little if you want the 4th tip, I would love it if you go onto LinkedIn and connect with me and message me directly, drop a fried chicken, and we'll give you the 4th tip. I'm serious, I'll give you a 4th tip. So if you do that and give me a fried chicken emoji, I pretty much will give you a 4th tip. And tomorrow I'm going to have a workshop too to create bite-sized content. If you're interested, I'd love it if you join me. And that's about it, everyone. So I'll see you on LinkedIn.
Let's go. It's my birthday. No, it's not. But I still look good though.
Stuff from String.
I just want an autograph.
Well done, String.
Plenty more of that to come, don't you worry.
Our next speaker is a Melbourne-based YouTuber, so a local shout-out, who has become a source of knowledge for being trans and agender. Also being an activist for the LGBTQ community, she promotes the importance of speaking up about mental health and always being your true self. Please welcome AJ Clementine.
I was just thinking backstage, I'm like, I couldn't even get through oral presentations in school, and then this is just too much. Anyways, my name's AJ Clementine. I make videos mostly towards the LGBTQ plus community. I like to think it's a safe place where people can feel like there's other people out there, not just with the stories I share from myself, but just in general. YouTube is one of those things that I felt like I needed to give back because it was something that was there for me in the time that not the best time. So I felt like doing YouTube videos was I could do the exact same thing that people that I looked up who were here as feature creators as well that I watched in high school, and I felt to give back to the community is something that is very important. It's one of those things that you feel that you're not alone. The internet world, you can reach people and you can feel like there's other people just like you, and you can get so clouded by the noise and the people in your everyday life that you can't really relate to, but then you can open up your computer and then relate to all these people online, which is how amazing YouTube can be. I don't really have a direction with what I want to say, but I just wanted to speak about what I usually talk about on my channel. I always try and express the fact that you can be everything and you can be nothing. You shouldn't take everything so serious in life. It's something that's a personal thing. You don't just because it's labels and all those kind of things that, so you don't have to let them stick and make them be entirely you. You get to choose who you are at the end of the day, and that's what's important. You're not truly living if you're not being your authentic self, and that's something that's really important on the internet world, is that if you're not making content or truly expressing the best version of yourself, it's it comes across as like fake, and people see that. And I feel like that's like one of the top things if you want to create content, is just to stick to who you are, and do what you truly like to do, because otherwise there's no point to creating if you're not actually enjoying it. And I feel like with YouTube and everything online, it gives such a big outlet for creative people to do anything that they want to do. And that's basically why I love YouTube so much. I just feel like I keep saying YouTube, but I'm trying to like plug YouTube as much as possible. I just feel so grateful that I get to do this. I just still am so shocked that they wanted me to do this, because I'm such an awkward little bean. I'm like, I can't do this, but I guess I can give something. I hope like at least one person in this like gained something from what I just said. But like being authentic online is like very important, and it should be for everybody, because you shouldn't just be authentic online, but you should be authentic in every single thing that you do in your life, because like you can post pictures, filters, all that kind of stuff like that. That's what you do when you leave the house, what truly matters, because like you could turn your phone off, you do all that kind of stuff at the end of the day, and it's what your influence in real life that really makes an impact, and it's cool that we can make that impact online too. So it's like you get the best of both worlds, to be able to impact people online and try to do it in real life as well, which is cool. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Vidcon. I've got 2 panels tomorrow. I've got one about being like out online with some really cool people on that panel, and I've got one about mental health, which is going to be a good little chat as well. So enjoy your VidCon, and hopefully I can like meet some of you if you want to chat. Like, I'm approachable, I guess. But thank you. Thank you.
Our next guest needs no introduction, but I'm going to give one anyway.
Classic.
He's half of the Vlog Brothers channel, and he's also executive producer for a number of educational channels. And he's also the co-founder of this very event.
Wow. So many talents.
Who is it, Tom?
Don't leave them hanging.
I might. So you've got to welcome him, because he is responsible for this event. So Hank Green, everybody.
It's my staircase, you can't use it. You just have to jump down. It's mine. Hello, everyone. So thanks for the very nice introduction. I'm really so happy to be here. It's wonderful. This first day has been so great already, and even the first 2 days before the event started, I've had a really great time in this city, and I've talked to a lot of creators, have a lot of really interesting thoughts, and really gotten my mind juices going, which is all I really want in life. So, and it's just really wonderful to see this room full of smart, passionate people who are into this stuff. I feel like when we first decided we were going to do an event in Australia, it was a big thing to chew off for us, and that was pretty scary. And in the end, we decided to do it. And it was a risk, and you have made that risk super worthwhile. Thank you for having faith in us. It's really wonderful. So, I went to an event yesterday that YouTube put on for advertisers and brands called the Brandcast Preview. Actual Brandcast is happening in Sydney, of course. Somebody said to me yesterday, Sydney's like a blockbuster movie, and Melbourne's like a good book. I don't really know what that means. I've never been to Sydney. So at that event, I got up in front of a bunch of advertisers, and the message that I wanted to send to them, which I did it in a different way than this, was like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? What? Why? Why are you like letting us build a future without you? Please come help build up the creators of tomorrow. See that as legitimate, because otherwise we're just going to figure this out and you're not going to be a part of it. Yeah. What are you thinking? Was the thing that I kept thinking as I was writing my talk. Like, what's going through your old heads? Sorry, they're mostly younger than me. I'm old now. But now, like, having had a bunch of conversations, thinking about what I'm going to talk about on this stage, I sort of started to feel like, boy, I'm a bit of a hypocrite. Because also, what am I thinking? Why are we doing this? This is a really weird, hard thing to be putting so much creative energy into. And also, how do we even think that we can take on, like, media, this giant, epic, huge thing, that we can be a part of that? And maybe that's one good reason to do it, just because it maybe seems like you can't. But basically this talk is about why are we doing this? Because I don't know that we check into it enough. And I think that that's a really important thing to be thinking about. So as creators, like the number one thing for us, I think, is thinking like, why do people like stuff? How do I create something that people are gonna laugh at, or that are gonna inspire them, or feel like it's helping them through something, or it's relatable, or whatever it is. How do we make people do stuff with our content? Whether that's just laugh, or whether it's subscribe, or whether it's become part of our communities. So that's really important. And it's also sort of the same thing as saying like, why do I like stuff? So when people say to me, well, I just create content that I like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like, no one knows what other people actually like. We only have the experience of one human being, so we're just applying what we think is good to other people. So yeah, pretty much if you're making stuff for yourself, there are other people like you. It doesn't matter how weird you are. Weird is apparently very good if you're how-to basic, like you could just be very strange. Like there's nothing weirder than that, and it is very popular. So like you can't be too weird to make content for someone else. Yeah, I actually like that. I didn't mean to say that, but it sounded really good. I didn't write it down first, so. Yeah, so, but understanding why you like something is not the same thing as understanding why you like making something. And that is the other, I think, less talked about key to like finding both success and also kind of happiness and satisfaction. And some people are like, never be satisfied. And yeah, okay, there's a good fuel behind that, but also, oh God, being satisfied would be so great, right? Please, be satisfied. That's like different people have different goals, but like I would love satisfaction. And I can't get none. So it's a separate question, and do we ask it enough? I'm not sure that we do, because there are good reasons, and I think there are bad reasons why we create stuff. And I wrote some down. These are just thought starters. They are not the only reasons why we do things, but there are good ones. Like, you know, AJ was just talking about helping people feel comfortable in themselves and helping you feel comfortable in yourself. The joy of just making stuff, because you love doing it, you love dedicating yourself and sitting in a chair for a long time and your brain is stuck on this one thing and you're doing it and at the end you've done it and that's a wonderful feeling. Feeling like you're part of something bigger than you. That's great. I love that. Feeling like you're making someone else happy, making them smile, building a community. All good reasons, not the only good reasons. There are also sort of like maybe not great reasons, and I'm not saying like these are terrible and you're a bad person if this is part of why you create and a part of why I create. Winning, getting ahead of other people, regardless of whether you even like them or not. Just winning. Climbing up the mountain that doesn't have a top. Not necessarily a good motivation, but certainly one for me sometimes, and for a lot of people. Narcissism. I want people to look at me because I think that I'm special. It's there, and I try to look it right in the face and I say like, hey, that's there. I don't want to ignore it. I want to be aware of the bad reasons why I create. Because your self-worth is tied to the number of Instagram likes you get. Like that's a bad reason to make stuff, but it's a reason that a lot of people make stuff. You don't know if you don't check. You don't know why you're making things until you check in. Time limit exceeded. Ha! I run this conference. I've only got like 4 pages left. It's fine. And I will say, like after 11 years of doing this, first I'll say, if you're motivated by bad things, sometimes you do bad things. I'm not like, bad motivations can be good to get you someplace. Any fuel will get you somewhere, and that's okay. Like, as long as you're aware of them. But it's when a bad fuel is making you do a bad thing to get to a place where you're going that I start to be questioned about it. Like, bad fuel isn't necessarily stuff you shouldn't use. Like, you want to use everything you got as long as it's not making you do a bad thing. So, it's just good to look at it. So after 11 years in this, 11 years doing this, I will say that success in creation, like the feeling of success, because success, of course, is not something that exists outside of you. It only exists in the way that you feel it. Success in creation isn't always tied with the size of your audience. Even economically, it's not always tied with the size of your audience. It's tied to the amount of value you deliver to your audience. It's tied to the kind of audience you have. It's even tied to simple things that you have a hard time controlling, like how much money your audience has. But it is also, of course, controlled by the size of your audience. That's just not the only thing that controls like your economic success, and it's certainly not the only thing that controls the success that you feel inside of you. The feeling of like, I've done a good thing. So I don't know why you're here in this room. I don't know what you do. I don't know the details. I'm not very good at like the details of how to like succeed on YouTube anymore because I did that 10 years ago and the world is very, very different now. But I do think that I want to ask you to take a look at it, to like think about like, I do think that thinking about like why you are doing this, like part of success is asking that question. And I think that like no shame, ask it and answer it as honestly as you can. Is it to make an impression? Is it to make money? Is it influence? Is it attention? Is it changing the world? Is it joy? Like all of these things, don't turn away from them. Don't be afraid of them. And if you don't like what you find, be okay with changing up what you're doing and how you're doing it. And if that feels like I don't want to do that, it feels like I've been working for so long to do this thing and I've dedicated so much of my life to it. And if that was all wrong, then I wasted all that time. No, you didn't. 2 reasons. 1, anytime you're creating, you are succeeding in a way. You are making stuff, and that is wonderful in itself. You're growing as a person, you're making stuff for people. And second, like, if you're doing something that ultimately isn't servicing the good parts of you, or it isn't servicing actually what you want to get done, you want to stop now. Like, it's bad to do that for a year, it's worse to do that for 2 years. Like, just because you've been acting unhealthy is not a good reason to keep acting unhealthy. Though I do love Tim Tams. But I will say motivations are really hard to figure out. This isn't something that's easy to do. Looking at yourself and figuring out what drives you, it's taken me a long time to do that. But I will say I try to do it regularly. Like, it's a good thing to do like on the first of the month. Be like, why am I doing all the things I'm doing? Let's just check for half an hour. Just think about that. Maybe have conversations with people that you love. And I would like to ask you all to do a thing, which is to maybe sometime when you get a free moment at this event, I know there aren't a lot of those, to write it down. It's not going to fit in a tweet, but like maybe write it in your notes, or maybe post a little thing on Medium, and then if you can, just share that. And if you don't want to it to influence like your social stream, it doesn't fit with whatever your regular social stream is, create a little throwaway Twitter account to post. But I think that it's a really good idea to let people know what you're thinking about and what's motivating you. Like, think about it, write it down, take a screenshot of your notes, post it on Twitter, use a hashtag like Vidcon Australia, Vidcon US, and then another hashtag like why I make stuff. Hashtag why I make stuff. And post that, and look at what other people are posting. Look what other people are saying. And think about what you're saying, and maybe find some other people who might have similar motivations to you and talk to them, connect with them, because I'm going to say this, even though I probably shouldn't, because I think all year about how to provide value at this conference, but I know for a fact that the most valuable thing in this room is you. And connecting with other creators is the actual, part of the main value that is created by these events like this. So VidCon's value is you. So don't let that go by, because I know that I could not have done this if I didn't have my brother to talk to all the time about crises, economic crises, existential crises, creative crises. It's so wonderful to have a guy, a smart, passionate guy like my brother to talk to about that stuff. do your best to find people to work that stuff out with, whether that's people in your lives that you love or fellow creators that you're connecting with. And I hope that Vidcon can be a part of that connection, because I do not know anybody who does this alone. Thank you very much.
I love this intro music. I feel like I should walk
It's pretty
like
cool,
this
right?
kind of thing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Tom had his joke backstage. I was like, please stay on stage. So
It was terrible.
say it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. 'Cause his
I'll
name-
save it, I'll save it.
His
I'll
name's
save it.
Hank. That's the okay. Guys, I was just thinking, listening to Hank just then, how much more engaging is an American accent?
Absolutely.
Like that was like
He was a very smart guy. He's like at one stage of the spectrum and we're at the other. It's a bad side.
Well, like you listen to me, and it's like, is that guy from like rural Australia? No one probably understands what I mean to say.
No, everyone has no idea what's happening.
Okay, good. At least we're all on the same page then.
So we're setting up the piano for your recital.
Yes, yes. But before that, before my recital, we're going to get someone else out on stage next. So, has anyone here heard of Axis of Awesome? Yeah. What a band. What a cool name for a band.
That's great. The
What?
Roundabout Crew sucks.
We blew it.
We bombed it with the Roundabout Crew.
We
That's
blew it,
a
absolutely.
a bad name. So he's the musical one, this next guy. He's the musical one from the Australian-based group, the Axis of Awesome. And can I just say that on the way in, if anyone flew in, the distance from Melbourne Airport to Melbourne is longer than the flight from Sydney to Melbourne. It's the longest car ride in the
Terrible
world.
place for an airport, to be honest.
And Kenny was lucky enough to ride the car with this guy. How was the ride in?
Well, we called it the Uber of Awesome.
Oh,
Love it. It was real clever.
I guess that's why they call it Sin City. That's a hangover joke. Okay, so he's here tonight to share his talents, creativity, and to perform a live set. Wow. Did you guys think you were getting music? Because you
These guys are
are.
excited. They look riveted. There's a lot of
From his Human Jukebox series, Mr. Benny Davis.
That's far away. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out. Thanks for having me here. I'm here to do something a little different. I suppose everybody, if you know me from the Axis of Awesome. I wanted to take this a little bit more old school, do something that I did before the Axis of Awesome, something that I used to do out on the streets for quite a few years when I first graduated university. See, I studied classical music, which is why I didn't have a job. So, I would go out the street corners, and I'm about to do something for you that I used to do out there for quite a few years. So without further ado, would anybody like to buy some ecstasy? Usually offers sips and claps, see me afterwards. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't sell ecstasy. I know where to get it. If you need a number, just I don't. No, I'm actually. I've been working on some solo stuff lately, and I was going to perform something from my solo album that's going to be coming out soon. Something a little bit more sincere than what you're used to. So I hope you enjoy this. This is a song about, there's this cafe I go to every day in Sydney, and I always see this girl there, and I feel like everybody, guys and girls, we always feel these things that we really want to say, and there's things that hold us back from saying it, and I think it's important to just find a way to say it. Hey, pretty girl, sitting there by yourself in this cafe all the time. Breaks my heart to see you alone, girl, you know it is a crime. The way you linger on your coffee and sip it so sweet and slow, it drives me crazy, so I gotta let you know that you're taking up a table with 4 seats and you're only using one. You could have sat up at the bar, what you're doing's kinda dumb, 'cause there's clearly no one with you. You're not having anything to eat, and my girlfriend and I are waiting for a seat. What a twist, I've got a girlfriend. If I were young and single, oh, this would be a different song. But I'm not, and I'm hungry, and we've been waiting too goddamn long for you to put away your laptop and get the fuck out of my chair. So go back home and write your screenplay there. Must be it's sad being on your own, but I don't care. Thank you very much. That's from my upcoming album, Songs to Go Fuck Yourself To. If anyone can think of a better title for me, please let me know, because album's dropping next week, and that's just a joke, but if I don't think of something good, I'm gonna call my album that. See how that affects sales. Now I'm genuinely gonna leave you with something a little bit more sincere now. This is just, you want more cynicism? And it doesn't really feel like the whole vibe. We've had a really positive energy going through this show about being true to yourself and safe spaces, and then I come out with the whole, hey, don't take up any more room than you're meant to. So I'm gonna leave you with something a bit nicer. This is just a cover. I do love the platform that YouTube's created for people to make music and even if they don't write, to be able to perform and do covers. I love it when it's changed a little bit. This doesn't need an introduction, you know the tune. I got a video of this coming out in a couple of weeks, so hope you dig it. Her eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Her hair falls perfectly without her trying. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. Oh, I know when I compliment her, she won't believe me. It's so sad to think that she don't see what I see. But every time she asks me, do I look okay? I'll say, when I see your face, baby, it's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. When you smile, darling, whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause girl, you're amazing, just the way you are. If you're waiting for a joke, there's no one coming. It's genuinely a cover. I meant to say I should dedicate this not to my girlfriend, but to my wife. Because I got married this year. Same person. Not a separate girlfriend. Yeah, being married's cool. Everyone should be able to do it. Her lips, I'll kiss them all day if she let me. Her laugh, she hates, but I think it's so sexy. She's so beautiful, and I tell her every day. Oh, you know, I never ask you to change. If perfect's what you're searching for, then just stay the same. So don't even bother asking, do I look okay? You know I'll say, when I see your face, baby, it's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. When you smile, darling, whole world stops and stares for a while.
God, no wonder that dude is married. Holy God.
That was good. He is amazing just the way he is.
He dedicated it to his wife, but I felt he was serenading me.
Yeah.
And I got chills.
I heard that. You were getting
I felt
really...
your chills, man.
Yeah.
I was just shaking backstage. Our next guest is a food scientist and celebrity chef whose unique, wild, creative desserts have attracted 3.2 million subscribers and 500 million views on YouTube.
Half a what?
500 million.
500 million?
We need some of those views.
Yeah.
That's what we should share.
Do you mind sharing some of those views? No, I'm good.
About 500 million more than us, so you know she's good. Recently voted the world's best online chef in Taste Awards. Her amazing culinary creations have appeared on hundreds of TV shows, websites, newspapers, and every social media platform. Let's give a huge hand to Anne Reardon. Woo!
Thank you. Welcome to Vidcon. Who's having a great time? As creators, we spend a lot of time making our videos, coming up with ideas and then going and buying everything you need to make that idea a reality, whether that be cameras or in my case ingredients, and then actually filming it all and then editing it all. I know my videos take a long time to make, because if you're making a 3D cake, you've got to bake it and let it cool to start, and then you've actually got to make it look good and change. I film myself, so I've got to move the camera and focus it and change the lighting every time I'm doing something as well, obviously, as many of you would film yourselves. So we have this tendency as creators to overwork. So I do once a week, but I've met many creators who have easier videos to produce. So instead of doing once a week, they do twice a week, or 3 times a week, or as one guy I met just last week, twice a day. I have no idea how he maintains that upload schedule, but that is huge. For those of you who have never heard of me and never heard of my channel, because most of my audience is in the US, which I think would be pretty the same as most of yours, here's a quick snippet of what my channel is about. It will play. I'm going to give it, there we go. We do need sound though, because I can't sing like the last guy. We just need him back on stage. You'll have to have it with no sound. So we have giant Ferrero Rochers, 3D cakes, chocolate, that's 7 kilos of chocolate as pop art, Instagram cakes, all sorts of cool stuff. Giant Magnum ice cream, that was fun to invite people over to eat. Chocolate tools and chocolate desserts, all of that sort of thing. So that was supposed to have music, but anyway. So that's what I do, but I know that all of you work hard creating your content. And then you upload it, and then you press that magical button that says public. And when you do that, it's like entering your creation that you spent hours planning, filming, making into a race. And sometimes that race can seem really unfair, because you can look to your left and see another video that you think, it doesn't look like they tried anywhere near as hard as I did, and their views are just going crazy. Has anyone had that experience before? And it's like they're on a travelator in their lane and you're running on gravel. And then likewise, you can see another video, you go, that's an awesome video. Why does this video not have more views? And it's like they're on a treadmill. It doesn't matter how fast they run, they're not getting views. But we're all in this race trying to get more views. And over this weekend, probably this morning already, some of you have been to panels on how to hack the algorithm. I'm pretty sure if you knew how to hack it, you wouldn't be talking, you'd just have 1 million views yourself on every video. But anyway, still go to them. You're going to be going to sessions saying how to get your videos into the travelator lane. And often as creators, we just think, okay, I'm going to do more work, I'll spend more time on my video, I'll spend more time editing it better or filming it better or spend more money on it, and I'll do more because that's going to result in more. And so then we just overwork. So I'm going to tell you the opposite of everyone else. I'm going to say just take a step back and just take some time out for yourself, because research has shown that a rested brain is more creative. And if you can come up with more creative ideas, then when people find your content, they're more likely to love it. So take the time to do what refreshes you. Don't just neglect your friendships because they say, can you come out? And you go, no, I've got to edit. So no, I can't. Make sure you actually have time in your week that you can spend time with friends. Time in your week that you can spend time with your family. And if you've got a partner, like I've got a husband, we have a date night on Saturday night. Invest into your relationships. Don't neglect all of that. If you have a faith, don't neglect that either. We go to church every Sunday, whether I've got to produce a video or not, whether I'm behind or not, because that's something that's building in to us. So if you've got things in your life that you're allowing to build in, scheduling your time so that you can actually keep creating and coming up with creative ideas, then you'll be able to keep going. So we haven't missed a Friday upload in 5.5 years. And you can't do that if you're not allowing time to build into yourself. So if you heard nothing else of what I said, I want you to remember this and write it down. You are more valuable than your view count. Thank you.
That was good. Could I just say, that video did not need music because that food looked amazing.
That made me hungry.
I was hungry, man.
I was kind of hoping she was going to do one of those things they do on the Today Show where they bring up the thing and start cooking it.
Yeah.
Get some of that stroganoff.
This is just for the MCs. Yeah. Oh well.
Oh well. It was still good.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a downer. See you later, guys. Our next performer is awesome. He does dance tutorials, does some... what else does he do? Dance
He's a good friend of us as well, yeah.
Choreograph some dances.
Does he?
Yeah, like, we do that sometimes.
We do!
Always.
Do that dance you choreographed.
Okay.
Clap in, you'll dance! You dance! Yeah, let's go one. Alright, let's go. If you guys could get like a steady clap, like a...
That was terrible. I'm so sorry.
Let's leave it to the pros.
We're the whitest people.
So Jayden Rodrigues,
Even me.
even Kenny, especially Kenny to be honest. Jayden Rodrigues does dance tutorials, choreographs dances. He's got over 270 million views, which is heaps. That's like heaps more than us.
Yeah, again, it seems to be a recurring theme.
There's a theme. Anyway, we see him at all the events and he's a top dude. We love him to bits.
Yeah.
Jayden Rodrigues.
Boys, well done with the dance moves, by the way. Well done. G'day everyone, how you going? Are you having a great Vidcon? Now my name is Jayden Rodrigues. I know it's the most Aussiest name ever, but I am an Aussie creator. I'm sure a lot of you don't know who I am. I have a dance channel like the boy said before. I upload some basic dance videos online for anyone to learn whether they know how to dance or they've never danced before. So if you want to learn how to dance, go for it. Now I'm going to talk to you today about some struggles that I've had on YouTube. You see, now my channel is just purely dedicated to just uploading dance videos. Even though I've tried to upload, you know, like, I guess challenges and like singing tutorials, singing covers, because I sing as well, but for some reason on my channel people are just like, nah, just stick to the dancing. We're only here because you dance. So they're not really interested in what else I do. And that's, you know, it's a struggle because I love to sing as well, and I want to showcase that as well. So I decided to start a secondary channel, but in this day and age of YouTube, everyone's doing it, and it's almost like, how am I going to stand out and be different? And I wanted this channel to be really, really different. So I was talking to a couple of creators that I knew, and I decided to, you know, maybe we should do a collab channel, and maybe we upload weekly, and we can maybe be 4 of us, so we do it together so we can share the load. By the way, these boys that I collab with are from different parts of the world, and I have never met them before. So one guy lives in Italy, the other one in LA, and the other one in the Netherlands. And the idea is that when we hit 400,000 followers, we're going to meet for the first time. And I know it may sound a little bit confusing, but we started this at the beginning of the year. So instead of explaining it to you, how about I show you? 1, 2, 3.
For the first time ever, 4 YouTubers around the world will form an epic band. These guys from Australia, Italy, the Netherlands, and the USA have never met each other. This is Continuum,
Het mooie is, laat het over de band. Jullie hebben met z'n vieren, hebben jullie wel wat opgenomen. Jullie hebben nog niet elkaar gezien.
Ja, zeker.
Continua conquistato internet. Online boy band na Koteo.
I'm really the one who's always, you know, like throwing jokes after jokes.
He makes me laugh. So there it is. That's Continuum. Thank you. And when I was editing that video, it said that we had 360,000 followers. And I'm happy to say that we are now about 19,000 off meeting for the first time. And we were hoping that we could meet today at Vidcon and make it like this big thing, but we just fell a little bit short, but that's all right. So probably in November, we're hoping that we get to meet each other for the first time. I'm here today to let you guys know that if you are, I guess, struggling online and you need some inspiration, or you just want that thing to help elevate your channel a little bit more, why not do something crazy like this? I mean, the amount of sleep that I lose from doing this, because the time zone is different. We have to upload weekly, and we have to record the audio and then film the video. But it's fun when you share it with people who are thinking the same as you. And of course, like, I tried to upload covers onto my dance channel, singing covers, and everyone was like, nah. But now that it's on this boy band channel, those people are like, oh, we didn't know you could sing, oh, this is great, you know? So I guess what I'm trying to say is that even though people can be a little bit negative, that shouldn't stop you. You should still go ahead. If you love it, go ahead and do it. I just put a little twist on it. Like, it's the same thing that I was doing before, it's just there's a gimmick involved with it. So guys, I hope you learned something today. I hope you achieve big things. Just a big show of hands who's actually a creator, a YouTuber in here. Guys, I wish you nothing but the most best and the success in the world. You guys have a voice, and it's good to see that you're using it. And cheap plug, help us meet each other and hit that subscribe button. Guys, enjoy the rest of your VidCon. Thank you so much.
How much talent can one man have? Wowee. J-Rod, if you saw that dance backstage, we're available for a collab, so you've got my number. Don't worry about it.
I think he vomited backstage. Saw us dance and just spewed.
Speaking of talent, this is a good little segue. Next on stage, Screen Australia is a federal government agency. Well, that sounds like they're the CIA or something.
I think they are, yeah. They bug a lot of things.
Okay.
This man's me.
Yeah.
Cameras everywhere.
Now, they're charged with supporting Australian screen development, production and promotion. Tom, you've got nothing but kind words to say about Screen Australia.
Well, we've got Mike Cowap coming up, and he's a legend. He's funded a lot of great content online. He was nice enough to give us and our friend Frenchie some funding, and we did a series, so he's an absolute king.
Go check it out, guys. It's called the Australiana Hostel. Write that down on your phones. Yep.
We'll wait for everyone to do that.
AUST. Okay, sweet.
Okay, yep.
Okay, so they're here to speak on their work helping cultivate. Jeez, that's a hard
word. It's a big word.
That's a hard
Should have
word.
sounded out.
Cultivate the creative community in Australia, and Tom kind of ruined it, but here he is, Mike Cowap.
Nobody told me I could have brought my piano. Fuck. Who the hell is this guy? Let's play a quick video that will hopefully mean I don't have to tell you.
So what do we think is funny?
A fart?
Alright. Does anyone think a fart isn't funny?
What's your order, bro? I'm not ordering. You're meant to order. Is this a prank? Or do you come to the window?
Genevieve, why are you standing?
I feel like standing.
What about you, Cobra? You, like to wrap the old laughing gear around a couple of fronties?
What? They keep their beers cold by putting them in an esky.
You taking the Batmobile in? So I might fly.
Hey, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal.
That is bigger than what I thought it would be.
I was looking up to the rear vision mirror, and there is not one there.
This is not MasterChef. You don't burst into tears and move on to the next episode.
The world is waiting for us to fail. The pressure is overwhelming. I can't breathe. I actually can't breathe.
Are you really going to do this? Just going to pretend that nothing happened?
Do you think we'll get to a point where people want to edit their genes?
I know 2 people who have already done gene therapies on themselves.
So divine. I'm so divine. I'm so divine.
This little filly's got a busy mouth, hasn't she, Colonel?
Yes. Ah, good. That's very good distance. Okay, let's go.
Has your vagina ever come to life and talk to you? So what?
You are joking.
I didn't make any of them. I just paid the invoices, usually on time. A few familiar shows in there? So I'm Mike, I'm from Screen Australia. We fund stuff. It's all about helping create sustainable careers for creators. I also run our Skip Ahead program with Google to support creators to grow their YouTube audience. So when Vidcon asked me to do a keynote, I said I'd be a fraud. I'm not a creator, I'm a dull bureaucrat. But they persisted. They thought I might have something of interest that I could share with you folks, so my ego refused to let me say no. Thanks to my role, for the past 12 years I've had an overview of what's happening with creators and audiences. I see patterns. And one of the main patterns that I see is that good things happen to creators with large, engaged audiences. I might be stating the obvious, but let me dip into it a bit. They get interest from the film and TV industry. They attract marketing money and get to make branded content. They get to sell merchandise. But the big audience came first, and they did all that themselves. All the creators I know with big audiences have one thing in common. They didn't wait for anyone's permission to upload their videos. They didn't wait for anyone's money. They just worked hard at it, and that big audience rarely comes overnight. They grow over years and years of consistent hard work and effort. You are in control of building that engaged audience, and that engaged audience gives you power, which means you are entirely in control of your own destiny. That's all I wanted to share with you, that you're in control, simple as that. Your future success is up to you and how much work you're willing to put in. So I've met a lot of people who want to be on TV, unsurprisingly. It's really hard. It's really hard to get a meeting with a serious TV exec. It's hard to prepare a really compelling pitch for them. It's an art in itself, just creating a series Bible. And then there's never just one executive to get through. You might impress one, but they might have to pitch it to their colleagues. People question themselves. I find this funny, but maybe no one else will, they'll think. And different people have different opinions and can easily get talked out of it or overruled. So you are in some ways at the mercy of whatever that broadcaster or distributor might be looking for at that time, which you might have no idea about. Most broadcasters are naturally conservative and have to lean towards what they think the most number of people will watch, because TV is generally a numbers game where they only make money if people are watching. So consequently, I don't think there's been a particularly inclusive, it's not been a particularly inclusive industry. I don't think we've seen a lot of people from diverse backgrounds or underrepresented groups making it to the screen. For them, the traditional road is even harder. With all this working against you, it doesn't sound like you have much control, but you do. You have all the tools at your fingertips to make content that reflects you and your potential, and you can go out and find your own audience. There's an example of, I was pitched a series that had already been pitched to a bunch of broadcasters and been turned down. I funded it for the creators to release it themselves, and over a weekend it went gangbusters. It got 1 million views, and within 2 days I had a senior exec from a broadcaster calling me and ready to bang down the door to support them. And this is a broadcaster, an executive who'd already been pitched the show, and the difference was the audience. Once he'd seen that it had an audience, it just absolutely got him over the line. The show had proven itself, and if you have an audience, it takes away the risks for people who need content. They don't have to second guess their own tastes. If they like it, but no one else has seen it yet, then it's just their subjective opinion. And that means sticking your neck out to say that it's good, and it can be frightening to stick your neck out. If something has an audience, they can say it's objectively good. They know that other people like it. They don't have to expose their own opinions to represent the creators to their seniors. That's how shallow us executives are. Just a few other examples for people for whom this has worked, like John Luck, also known as My Chonny, getting cast in a feature film in Sucker. My phone rang off the hook after the first season of the catering show came out, and they got commissioned to do a second season on the ABC. Foxtel are investing big in content creators. They've got a sketch series coming up called The Slot, which will be a primetime show. Derek from Veritasium got to host a major documentary series here. And the Raka Raka, if anyone knows, fantastic lads. They get constantly flown around the world, promoting movies and TV shows. And Sketchy are on more billboards than they can count. If you can build an audience, it makes you like a magnet for people in broadcasting or feature film production or financing of any kind. It says this person knows how to entertain their audience. This makes life so much easier for an executive. They know people like watching them. They don't need to question it the same way. You're making it much easier for them to take a chance on diverse talent. They all want to, because it takes out some of their perceived risk, which we all know is bullshit anyway, by the way. They need to program what they think people will watch, and if they already know that people watch you, it makes those business decisions that much easier. Another benefit of your views, of course, is the data that it creates. You can paint a picture for them about who watches your show, what age they are, where they hang out, what else they like. It's very useful information for broadcasters. But don't get me wrong, people still have their own opinions, unfortunately. People aren't so entirely superficial that they'll be purely swayed by metrics. You have to have some substance to back it up, but you're all making good videos with substance, right? 2, 3 people are. Awesome. Hard work plus substance equals views, and views equals a career. I know a lot of my examples are about superficial things, like getting into TV, but you can also use these powers, this audience, to change the world. You know, my good friends, the Van Vuren brothers, they released a clip the other day, pro-gay marriage, and the last time I looked, after 3 days, it had 3.5 million views. So you can use that power to make change and to advance a good cause that you believe in. You're entirely in control of finding and engaging your audience. Finding that audience gives you power and control over your own destiny. I love that quote. The harder I work, the luckier I get. I don't think it's a coincidence that it was made by a film producer, Samuel Goldwyn, the G in MGM. So, go work hard and see how lucky it makes you. That's me. Thanks, folks.
Cowap, what an absolute legend. That guy's responsible for a lot of awesome content that you've seen.
Well, you saw like Arnie Donna, Sketchy. I heard a few woos for Raka Raka. Can I get some woos for Raka Raka?
The Raka Raka boys.
Yeah, there's a big fan. I like that.
They're insane.
They are. They're crazy. But like you're saying, it's so good to see Australian content getting pushed out, and it's all thanks to Screen Australia.
Yeah, it's great that he's backing a lot of creators and giving us some money, which we don't get much of.
Yeah, exactly. No money. We had to play a game of Heads or Tails today. I don't know if any of you saw it out in the main section there.
Oh,
yeah,
a few people there.
A few people. Nice. We didn't even have a coin to play it with. That's how poor we are. So, all good though.
Struggling.
We had to play it with the, you know how the people put their hands on their heads for heads and tails. Anyway, Kenny, you want to introduce the next act?
Yeah, our next guest is brilliantly
Watch out.
I'm in the way. Next guest is brilliantly vibrant, endlessly entertaining. She is without doubt one of YouTube Australia's most talented up-and-coming singer/songwriters. Double threat.
Wow, double
threat.
You know what they say.
Her colourful personality shines through in performances of her original songwriting and some of the world's most popular songs that have been stamped with her own creative soul and transformed to be truly her own.
She was getting pretty loose at the party last night.
She was. I reckon she's going to have a bit of a hangover. I reckon she's still got a voice.
Introducing and please welcome Damielou Shavelle.
Good evening.
Never know how much I love you. You'll never know how much I care. 'Cause when you put your arms around me, I get a fever. It's so hard to bear. You give me fever. When you kiss me, fever. When you hold me tight, oh, fever. In the morning, fever all through the night. Everybody's got the fever. That is something you all know. Fever isn't such a new thing. Fever started long ago. 'Cause with the taste of your lips, I'm on a ride. You're toxic, I'm slipping under. Taste of a poison paradise. I'm addicted to you, don't you know that you're toxic? And I love what you do, don't you know that you're toxic?
Thank you so much, Jack. It's an absolute honour to be here at Vidcon. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm a Melbourne-based YouTuber. Yeah. I started doing. I actually started off on YouTube doing vlogs and funny things that I just thought were quite fun, as you do. And then I was like, oh, I think I want to start singing. So I started doing some singing stuff and go Team Purple. So I'm a uni student now though. I haven't been posting very many videos, but I will be coming this next time. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce some beautiful backing vocalists that these are some of my friends that I've made at my university. This is Olivia, Gabrielle, and Joanna. And this is my friend James, who's so kind enough to play the bass for me. This next song is an original song, and it's called Save Me. I wrote it with a friend, and it's about internal struggle, which I feel like a lot of people can relate to. So I hope you guys enjoy this one. That's me.
only one that can save me. I can't be the one that's crazy. I'm constantly compromised. I'm misguided by lies. Nobody can save me if I cannot change me. And nobody can save me. And nobody can save me. It feels like my back's against the wall. Voice very thin, kind in my call. I do what I know I should. Is there something that I misunderstood? It's not just a silly little fantasy. My heart tells me it's my destiny. Oh, but can I trust my soul when my mind doesn't feel like it's in control? Enough, it's too much. Think what you want, baby, even blame me. Say what you like, no, you won't faze me. Do what you do, baby, it won't change me. Cause I know I'm the only one that can save me. I can't be the one that's crazy. I'm constantly compromised. I'm misguided by lies. Nobody can save me if I cannot change me. Then nobody can save me. Then nobody can save me. Nobody can save me if I cannot change me. Then nobody can save me. Then nobody can save me. Thank you so much for listening.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah.
Are you still going? Oh, how much talent.
That was so good.
That
That was beautiful. For a hangover, she nailed it.
No, that was
well done.
That was amazing. Well done, Damielou. Very, very
I was a bit
talented.
disappointed though. She said backup vocals. I started
3 microphones, yeah. And I was
three
like,
microphones. Warming up. I was feeling like she wanted some robot action.
Yeah.
Save me.
Yeah, that's a good song. I really like that song.
You should subscribe.
Oh, you're on the card.
Yeah, I'm on the card today. Just padding it out.
Okay.
Should I start?
Yeah, go for it.
So our next guest, she's a writer, producer, director, actress.
Wow.
I mean, what can't she do, really? She's a third of the group Skitbox. Oh. You guys seen their videos? You know, activewear. You guys know how activewear. Yeah. Doing a panel in it? No, that's fine. But yeah, she's also done a series called Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am, which is awesome. They've got some great sketches.
That's a cool name.
It is, isn't it?
That's like just above Axis of Awesome in cool names.
Just above?
Just above.
Oh, that's good.
Well, Benny's left, so he can't be offended. So.
That's good, I like that. I like that. Anyway, Sarah Bishop, everybody.
Sarah Bishop.
Yeah. I remember syrup sandwiches.
Hi, how's everyone going? So I'm really glad that they gave me that introduction because when I was thinking about coming up here, I was really, really nervous that you guys would look me up online because we've kind of had a few hits for activewear and our show kind of did well and we've got really good numbers on Facebook, but our Instagram numbers are like so bad. And I feel like if you guys looked me up on Instagram, you'd be like, why is this girl speaking at Vidcon when she has less followers than my grandma? But anyway, no, so I am in a group called Skitbox. It's a comedy group. We're an all-female comedy group. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight was this idea of not getting stuck in labelling yourself and labelling what you do and putting yourself into a box. So one of the reasons that I started was I kind of started out as an actor, and that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be taken really seriously as an actress. I had no interest in doing anything else. But I kind of fell into comedy, and I met Adele and Greta, who were my partners in Skitbox. And we kind of realised that there weren't many roles around for actresses in comedy. And if they were kind of boring. It would be like the girlfriend, or like the girl that tells the guys off for having so much fun. And we kind of got really bored of that, and so we decided to form a comedy group, and we decided to start writing and making our own content. And so that was kind of my first experience of moving outside of the label of just actress. Because not only was I writing and producing and creating my own content, I was also moving outside of that label in terms of like the roles that I was playing. They weren't the traditional roles that women would play on screen. And so we started out doing YouTube videos, and then we moved into making some sketches for the ABC, for television. Around the same time, we started directing as well. So I was now writing, producing, acting, directing on YouTube, for TV. We started doing live shows, and then eventually we got our television series, which is called Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am. It was a 6-episode series that aired here on ABC iView, and it was also screened in America on a network over there. And then so kind of from that, you know, again, I was expanding that list of these labels, right? So I was like now kind of show running a show, and then on top of that we were doing live shows, and then now I start doing things like directing commercials, and so I'm kind of doing all of these things. And it's amazing, and I love it. I have like a dream job. I love what I do so much. But it's caused this kind of very specific social anxiety around social situations. And whenever this happens, it strikes a particular fear in my heart. And it's when people ask me the question, so Sarah, what do you do? Who here hates that question? I hate it. I hate it so much because I never know how to answer. Like I've just told you all of the things I do. I never know how to answer people. And so I kind of like try and make it easy. I just pick a few. I'm like, oh, I'm like an actress and a writer and a director. And then people always follow up with this next question. They go, yeah, but which one do you like the best? And I just feel like I actually do like 20 things, and I was trying to make it easier by like whittling it down to 3, and you're just like breaking my balls. And so I go, well, you know, I give them the honest answer. I'm like, I actually like all of them. And then they come up with the next question that always follows. Yeah, but if you had to pick one? And now when I get asked that question, like I just really feel like responding to them, do you like pizza and burgers? Yeah. Yeah, but like, which one do you prefer? Like, if you had to pick one, like if you're serious, you should pick one and commit to eating that for the rest of your life. It's ridiculous, and I feel like these labels are kind of the problem with the world. I feel like so many of our problems stem from this fact that we get lazy and we want to just label people. We want to label them by race, we want to label them by gender, we want to label them by sexuality, and it's just a way to kind of like easily decipher who people are, right? So we don't really actually have to think about them. We don't really have to take the time to get to know them as people. And I think it's messed up. And I was thinking about this last night. I was watching the AFL, because I'm in Melbourne and that's what you do, right? So I was watching the AFL and I was like, can you imagine what it would be like if the players are like playing the game and they're trying to score a goal and they have to like stop and explain to people the rules of the game, who they are, what role they're playing, what like their job is in trying to get the goal. It's like they don't do that. Like Joel Selwood, the captain of Geelong, is not standing around explaining his existence to people. He's just focused on doing what he came here to do, which is being in the game and kicking goals. Not as many as I would have liked last night because they lost, but still, that's irrelevant. And anyway, and that's kind of how I feel like what it's like as a creator. Like, every second that you stop to explain to people what you do, to explain to them the YouTube thing, try and explain all these different roles that we do, that's a second that you could be actually creating shit and kicking goals, which is what you came here to do. So I just feel like screw the labels, focus on kicking goals. Because at the end of the day, when you're kicking goals, that's all people see. Like, they're not going to ask you those questions, they're not going to worry about that. They're just going to see the goal and they want to jump on that. And yeah, that's kind of what I had to say. Focus on kicking the goals. Don't worry about explaining to people what you do. They're going to catch up. Just go out there and do what you love, and the rest will follow. Thanks for listening.
Kendrick Lamar? Walking on to Kendrick Lamar? That's pretty cool.
That was cool.
She's an excellent public speaker.
She was really good. She was engaging. She did things with her hands. I've just been like stiff. I'm kind of freaking out the whole time.
What do I do with my
We
hands?
did robot for a bit.
Yeah, we did.
Man,
she was an excellent speaker. Now, our next guest, she has the same name as our last guest. What are the odds?
That's weird. They should have spaced that out.
Yeah, that's all right. So she's a Melbourne-based singer/songwriter. Again, how much talent is on YouTube?
So much talent.
Why didn't we get any? Best known for her covers, and I'm not talking about her bed covers or a dude cover. In particularly, the cup song of Royals. Anyone familiar with Lord Royals?
That's a good video. You guys should watch that.
That's a great. Does anyone want to hear Kenny sing Royals? He's the most tone-deaf man in the world. That video amassed over 12 million views. So she is now working on original music, and she was recently featured as an artist on The Voice.
I know. She met Seal and shit.
Right.
You see Seal? He's a cool dude.
He is a cool man. He is a cool cat. Please welcome Sarah Stone.
Sarah.
Go, Sarah.
No matter how hard I'm trying to, I want you all to myself. You're metaphorical gin and juice. So come on, give me a taste of what it's like to be next to you. Won't let one drop go to waste. You're metaphorical gin and juice. Keep making love to each other, and I'm trying. It's all in the downs and the uppers. Keep making love to each other, and I'm trying. Can't keep my hands to myself. Can't keep my hands to myself. Say you're no good, but people say what they want to say, and you should know if I could, I'd breathe you in every single day. Oh, 'cause all of the downs and the uppers keep making love to each other, and I'm trying. Each other, and I'm trying. Can't keep my hands to myself.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah Stone, and what you just saw is a little video I came up with going back quite a few months ago, and it stemmed from what the Roundabout crew were talking about, which was a video I just decided to do one day. I thought, hey, why not? I'm going to do something a bit different, a little bit creative. So I grabbed a cup out of the pantry, and then came the Royals Cup song. And I was quite taken back by, I guess, how that was received. I just thought it was going to be another cover, and I underestimated creativity, bad idea. And yeah, it just absolutely took off, and I realized that's what people really loved on YouTube. They loved this kind of creative outlet of taking something that inspires you, making it your own, and just finding a unique way to connect with people. So doing this was probably by far one of the most complex videos I did. But yeah, I loved it, and I loved that response. And so that's what I want to talk about today. I think it's so important now on YouTube because it is becoming an extremely clustered space. There's so much content, especially I would say, a lot of people doing very similar stuff, and it's important to be unique and to find a niche that people really enjoy and connect with them on that level. So for me, doing cover music, in a way it is duplicating music, but it's finding my own way to connect with people. And that's the reason I love YouTube. As the boys said as well, I recently did The Voice, which I loved. It was an amazing experience. But I was out of my creative control. It was someone else had the reins, and that was quite scary because I had no idea how I was going to be perceived by other people. And yeah, it was quite a daunting process and experience. And coming from being in my bedroom making these covers and being able to connect with you guys on such a close way, I really appreciate that connection. So when I got let out into the world in front of Australia on national television, it was terrifying because I loved being in my safe space. But that seems to be a really current occurring theme with today. It's taking risks and not being afraid to put yourself out there and try something different. Because that's where I've kind of found what I really enjoy, by taking a simple idea and spinning it on its head. So yeah, from that whole experience, I definitely walked away just feeling really inspired to be different. And yeah, that's led me, I guess, on my path of creating original content and starting to write songs. And YouTube's been an amazing platform to allow me to connect with people with original music as well. So I'm in the process of getting my original music out. So hopefully some of you guys might listen to it one day, which is kind of exciting. But yeah, it's just amazing, I guess, to see how music and YouTube have connected. Because I used to just be a fan. I used to make watch YouTubers. And then all of a sudden I decided, you know what, I'm going to take the risk and I'm going to make a YouTube video. And I think once you take that leap of faith and you start creating content, I think at first as well, I just wanted to make content, I guess, to impress other people and to make other people happy. But when I started to make content for myself and started to make myself happy, that's when I just fell in love with making YouTube content. So yeah, I would definitely say that the things that have inspired me to be a YouTuber is seeing the support from the community, and being a Melbourne-based YouTuber, like many people that have spoken today, I'm very proud to see how many of you guys have turned out to support the YouTube community. Because yeah, we are growing, and it's so impressive, and I love that. Yeah, and I think if I could leave you guys with any advice, I would definitely just say, find something that you're passionate about and really drives you and fuels you, and find a way to make it your own. Because as I said, it's a very congested platform these days. And if you're trying to do what everyone else is doing, it's not going to work. So find a way to make it completely your own, and people will fall in love with you and your content. Thank you guys so much. I'm seriously.
No matter how hard I'm trying to.
Very well done. I'll tell you what, if The Voice had allowed cups up on stage, she would have smashed it.
Absolutely, it would have been a landslide.
She would have won it hands down on the cup.
On the cup.
Our next speaker is a fangirl turned entertainer who posts story videos embracing a straightforward, awkwardly personal humour. From Uber drivers, uncomfortable therapy sessions, psycho roommates, and harrowing bad dates. Haven't we all been there?
Bad dates.
Have you been there? What's your worst date?
Come on, Kenny, you've had a bad date.
Well, okay, worst date, probably, took this lovely lady out to the Easter show. I had this great vision of myself winning a giant stuffed teddy bear. I'm thinking, Kenny, you bloody charmer, this is going to be the best date ever.
It's what every man dreams of.
One of the first things we do is go on the rides. Unfortunately, she felt a little bit queasy and threw up.
On herself or on you?
On both of us. Which ended the day pretty quickly. That was a bit of a train wreck.
Second date?
No second date, unfortunately.
There's a bit of advice for you all out there that plan on dating. Don't throw up on the date.
That's good advice.
Well, our next guest exposes situations like that for all the world to see. Please welcome The Gabbie Show.
Hi guys, how's it going? Listen, hi, this is great. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Gabbie. If you have seen my videos before, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is Vidcon. Just show of hands, who here is under the age of 18? So quite a few of you. How many of you lied about your age so that you could watch restricted content on YouTube? See, you're the ones messing up my analytics. Your parents take them home, take away their fidget spinners. They need to learn a lesson in honesty. But I love places like this. I love conventions like this because I feel like this is the only place where people really understand us. Because out in the real world, it's completely different. Like, here's a really good example. In the real world, people get excited about things like babies and engagements. But in our world, people get excited about things like baby Ariel and their Twitter engagement. No one? Okay, great. But it's just really weird seeing different lifestyles. Like my sister, she's only a year older than me, and she has 2 babies and a husband. I have 2 therapists and a stolen Netflix account. So it's day and night with us. Our conversations always end on the phone with her being like, hey, I gotta go, I gotta make dinner and feed the baby. And I'm like, yeah, me too, I gotta go make a Musical.ly and feed my ego. But here, people get it, they understand it, because you know, we're not making our friends based on proximity or who's in our class alphabetically. Here, we can hand select our friends from an entire universe of people based on whatever it is that we're interested in. It's the globalization of friendship, and it's truly incredible. It's like we're the misfits who found each other because we don't really belong anywhere else, or at least that's my experience. You know, growing up, I didn't really have that many friends, but I sat on AOL Instant Messenger, just aged myself to all the people under 18 here, but I would sit on AOL Instant Messenger and I would talk to strangers and tell them my deepest secrets to a faceless username and just throw it into the dark cobwebs of the internet. And it's really scary to think about, but I would sit there for hours, you know, just lost in cyberspace. But I've always felt comfortable, tangled up in the World Wide Web. I felt safe. But I spent so much time talking to strangers about my problems on the internet that I forgot how to deal with them in real life. And I became so content with my internet connection that I stopped working on my interpersonal connections. I became so comfortable with X and O that I shied away from hugs and kisses. And it became really lonely, and I started becoming forever alone in a crowded room. And I had friends, and it just always felt like I was on the outside looking in, kind of like they were the Earth, and I was a satellite, just kind of looking down at them, if that makes sense. Not down, that sounded awful. They're better than me, trust me. But it became really lonely, and because of this, I spent a lot of time sobbing silently into pillows when I should have been talking to people. And I started drowning in depression, and most of my adult life, I was suffering silently and crippled by anxiety because I didn't know how to talk about it anymore. And it's a sad life because you can feel so connected to so many people, yet still feel so alone. And I talked a lot about this with my therapist, and he asked me, did you ever tell your friends about this? Have you ever explained your feelings? I was like, God, of course not. And he said, well, why not? That's what friends are for. What, did you ever explain to them your feelings of darkness and loneliness? And I said, no, God, no. And he asked me why, and I said, because they couldn't understand. How could they? They're all so happy. They all live these beautiful Midwestern lives. They could never get it. And I was alienating myself by living this digital world and separating myself from them. So recently, I found myself, and it wasn't that long ago, in one of the darkest places that I've been in a very long time. It was this very strange conundrum of feeling like my chest was so full that it was going to explode, and somehow feeling completely empty at the same time. But if anybody ever asked me, "Are you okay?" I would say, yes, of course, I'm okay. So on the 4th of July, which was very recently actually, I forced myself to go out. And I told myself, Gabbie, you have an incredible life, because truly I do. You have an incredible life. Go out, spend time with your friends, get a tan, have a couple drinks, and it's going to be amazing and you're going to have a great time. And I did, and it worked for a couple hours. But then as the sun went down, the darkness grew. And I started feeling that time bomb in my chest start ticking again. And my instinct has always been to hide. I've always wanted to run. I've always hid from my emotions. I've always run to the bathroom and cried instead of letting anybody see it. And that was my instinct. But I just didn't want to anymore. I was just so tired. And hide and seek is only fun if somebody's looking. So on the 4th of July, I'm looking around and I'm feeling these really heavy emotions, and my instinct is to run. And for some reason, I just didn't want to. I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the strength. And I looked around at my friends and everybody was so happy and absorbed in their own moment and enjoying it so much that I just decided to sit down and just feel the pain and just let everybody do their own thing. And I sat up against the wall and all my friends are watching the fireworks and nobody noticed. And I sat there for what could have been 5 minutes or what could have been an hour until one girl noticed. And this girl, I don't really have a relationship with her. She actually used to bash me on the internet and to my friends before she met me in person. And we met and it was cordial, but we didn't really have anything in common, and she wasn't anybody that I would ever see myself opening up to. And she saw that I was feeling upset, and she came over to me and she kneeled in front of me, and I was like, God, here we go. She's gonna ask me if I'm okay, and I don't want to talk about it. But she didn't. She said, I can't imagine the pressure you're under, and I have no idea what's hurting you, but it's going to be okay. And then she put her arm around me, and I just surprised myself because I allowed myself to sob into this girl who not only did I expect to never even have small talk with, but I'm ripped open and bleeding out in front of her, and she's just silently holding me, not asking questions and comforting me, and until I caught my breath, and then we pulled back and I looked around and still nobody noticed. And I learned a lot that night, and I've changed a lot since that night. And the first thing I learned was that it's okay to feel, and it's okay to feel bad things, and it's okay to hurt, and it's okay to be sad. And the second thing I learned is it's okay to let people know. You don't have to put on a front. It's okay to tell people you're not okay. Take a step outside of your digital you and just be vulnerable. And it is so scary, horrifying to be that vulnerable, but when you do it, it is so empowering. There is nothing more empowering than just owning your emotions. Hide and seek isn't fun if nobody's looking, but sometimes you have to ask somebody to play with you. Since that day, I've started opening up about things that I never thought I would open up with, and to people I never thought could ever understand that I would talk to, and I was dumbfounded by who and how many people shared my exact experience, my exact upbringing, my pain, my emotions, my fears, my insecurities. These people who I never expected to understand walked a marathon in my shoes, and I didn't know because I didn't ask. But the next time somebody asked me, are you okay? I said no, but I will be. And I hope you can answer the same. Thank you guys.
She's amazing. That's a great message that Gabbie's just conveyed. It's always a fantastic thing to ask someone if they're okay. Asking any of your mates, asking anyone if they're okay is always so important, but an American accent, man.
It's good, that was a
Oh my God.
sorry, bro.
I feel like I'm in Hollywood, California. Oh, we're getting chased by the couch here.
Oh, the old chase couch. Played this before.
Yeah, that accent is just, that was really, really engaging stuff, and she did very well.
So, we apologise if we're a little bit rattled today. We go to these events and they go, come down, have a few drinks, enjoy yourself, and we have all the drinks. And
Every single
We
one.
woke up in a state this morning and went to our meet and greet, and there was these huge lines. Then there was our line, and it was fun. We were rattled though. And our next guest, actually, I went to this event. It was a YouTube-hosted event. Drank all the beers, and we're walking down the street. I think we were getting an Uber. I don't know what we were doing, and she gave us a lift. So that's the type of person she is. She gave us a lift. She had to put up with our banter for like a whole car ride.
Oh man, has she ever given you a lift since?
So I thought she was going to swerve off the road and just do us all a favour, but no, she was very kind, and she's known for entrusting her fans and having a lot of fans, and she's had over 200 million video views, which is massive, and 900,000 in the last month, which is absolutely insane. So she'll be coming on stage with Kristen Bowen, the head of top creators at YouTube, and they're just going to have a little chat on the couches. And hopefully the couches don't chase them around.
Let's get them on stage then, Tom. Wengie and Kristen Bowen.
Kristen Bowen.
Gotta represent. Chasing shit. No, chasing. Mask on. Get mask on. Mask on. Get mask on. Purpose.
All right.
A bit far. Hi guys. How's everyone? Who would have thought that the guys I randomly gave a lift to is hosting this event? I was like, oh, that was them. I've been told to stop giving lifts to random guys, like by my friends. They're like, you gotta stop doing it. I don't think it's safe. And actually, that's not the first time I did it. I think I did it recently as well. It's a very bad habit.
No, that's not safe.
Yeah. Whoops.
So it's a huge honor for me to be sitting here with one of our most successful YouTube creators in Australia. Thank you, Wengie, for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me. And thank you guys for staying for so long. I know it's kind of a long day, so.
We're closing the show.
Yeah.
And thanks to Gabbie for being so honest before and talking really frankly about, some challenges that I'm hearing a lot throughout the YouTube community that people are facing. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about how you handle some of these challenges because you're the expert on so many things, and we're going to tap you for some expertise.
Sounds good.
So, firstly, I'm so inspired by just how much you are able to accomplish in a day, in a year. You've had such amazing growth on YouTube, and we were talking about all of the other projects that you're working on. How do you do it all? How do you kind of balance your time?
I think in the world of YouTube, there's nothing called balance. I feel like balance is a word we'd like to achieve, but we'll never kind of achieve. Every YouTuber I talk to, including myself, we live, breathe, and live YouTube. That's all we think about all day, every day. If I take a break, I feel kind of like weird. It's kind of like an addiction almost, like to YouTube. But I think that's why it's really important, and you hear this time and time again, that you gotta love it, because I don't think reaching a balance sometimes is, the answer to YouTube. Sometimes it's about enjoying the fact that you get to work like so much on something you're passionate about. And for me, it's definitely priorities. I know there's 1,000,001 things you need to do when you run a YouTube channel, and there's always something more to do. And I think we could be working all day, every day, but it's just like priority. For me, I make it very simple for myself. As long as I get the video out on time every week, my job is done. Everything else can fall to the wayside, including sometimes sleep. But as long as my video is out, like that's what I've committed to when I joined this platform. And that's what you commit to for a community as well. Like they're expecting a video from you, so yeah.
I know, and we're so glad that you do. You mentioned sleep sometimes falls by the wayside, but I know that that is something that you try to prioritize. How did you how do you think about your health as you're doing this, that, sleep and exercise and eating, is that something that's important to prioritize as well for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think health is one thing that you realize becomes so important when you do something like this, especially when you work by yourself, and, you do get times where you can get a bit
when you organize your own routine, I ended up staying late and then sleeping late, and then that actually caused my body to change in a way that made me feel really down a lot of the time. And there was a period of time on my channel where I felt incredibly like lonely, isolated, including like socially anxious. I'm a very normal person, but when I started editing and working by myself and doing YouTube videos, I realized that one day my friends would ask me to come to an event and I would feel really anxious about it. I'm like, why am I anxious about going to a social event to see my friends? And I realized it was because I've gone down to this deep dark tunnel of working so much, sleeping late, waking up late, and not looking after my body, that my body like responded like psychologically different as well. And I felt, you know, I don't want to use the word depression, but I felt really down to the point where like nothing really seemed good anymore. And I realized it's because, you know, I've just let myself go. And so when I started to eat better, sleep regularly, and just like think about that again, I really definitely had a different perspective in life. Everything was happier, and I'm like, I literally just changed my like lifestyle routine. Like it wasn't anything to do with, you know, what was affecting me or happening to me, great things or bad things. It was just my body responding to the bad lifestyle that resulted in me feeling really, really down. And I think a lot of YouTubers do this and may not realize maybe it has something to do with your lifestyle and your health as well.
Yeah, thank you. And we're so glad that you fixed that.
Yes.
And another thing that I think that you've talked a bit about, you know, some of the kind of reframing that you've done to try to look at things with a bit more optimism and positivity. You know, YouTube can be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster where one day you're getting millions of views on a video, maybe the next video you don't. How do you kind of, you know, deal with some of those emotional fluctuations and seeing things in a positive light?
For me, I know every YouTuber is like, algorithm, like how many views are we gonna get this week? And being on YouTube for so long, like it is an emotional roller coaster. Not only do you have to look at the comments, first of all, the thing is like your views can be 1 million this week and then like 100,000 the next week and you don't even know. So for me, it's about thinking of it as like a challenge. Like I don't like to think of, you know, I like to think about what I can control. And like, I mean, it's really great to, it feels very comfortable to be able to complain about something and to say, you know, it's happening to me, but that wasn't very helpful with what I was doing. So it was definitely going on a journey and rethinking that process, maybe making it into a game. Okay, so this week wasn't so well, didn't go so well, how can I improve it and use it as a learning experience and experience to grow versus an excuse to say, hey, I'm not doing well because this is happening to me. And I feel like the success for my channel that a lot of people ask is like my ability to push through by simply reframing the way something happens. I mean, it's much easier, and I have done it. Like, I have complained about, hey, you know, YouTube algorithms again, this is why I'm not getting views, as opposed to looking more inward and going, okay, what can I control? I can control the kind of content I make. Let's just make better content and see how that goes next week. So yeah, that's definitely helped me push through with a lot more of a positive mindset. And like, that's something you guys can look at as well when creating your videos and your channel, instead of, yeah, just look at what else can I control and what I can do to improve that.
So true for life beyond the YouTube videos as well, right? Like focusing on the things that you can control as opposed to everything else. I like that. So, I mean, you've skyrocketed into fame. You have so many millions of fans all around the world. How do you deal with the attention that you get from fans and, you know, kind of having a private life as well?
Oh, I think privacy goes out the door when you join YouTube, by the way, just saying. I think it's kind of weird at first because I never did YouTube for the fame. I didn't go to YouTube going, I want to be famous. I just want to create. So this whole like fame thing is kind of weird to me, and it always surprises me when I walk out the door and someone stops me and it's like, hey you, I'm like, oh, hi. Like I love it when people come up to me. I love meeting the people that watch my videos and like seeing them in real life, hugging them. That's why I love things like this. Meet and greets are the best. Like literally, my viewers are the cutest thing in the world. Like every YouTuber will say that, but I think my viewers are the cutest people in the world. But yeah, I think For me, the thing that makes me the most anxious though is that like when people stare, like I have to say, like staring, I'd rather you come up to me, say hi, take a photo, give me a hug. The thing that makes me the most anxious when I go out is when like you're eating dinner, right? And then like someone's sitting like over there and they're just like, and then you see them like take out their phone and like, is it this girl? And then like they stare. That makes me really uneasy. And you do get like a bit used to it after a while. And I think for me, I just like to think about it this way. Like I've been given a responsibility, considering I've got so many people looking up to me. And like, think about it this way. You can just go say hi, give a hug, and like that would make someone's day, you know? And it's so easy. So it's like, why not do it? So yeah, I really like it. Like, yeah.
That's so sweet. Okay, lesson for VidCon. If you see someone that you admire and you want to meet, go up and introduce yourself. Don't stare awkwardly from across the room.
Yeah. Don't do the awkward stare, guys.
Good tip. You've been doing this for years now, and you know, I'm amazed by just how you keep coming up with new stuff, and you know, how many life hacks can you come up with? You come up with so many ideas. Like, how do you stay creatively fresh and sort of balance what you want to make from a creative perspective versus what the audience is demanding? Like, is there a tension there, or do those align?
For me, I've always loved making content people love to watch. And I think there's always a very healthy way to combine the two things. A lot of people always think it's like one or the other. You either make content for yourself or you either make content for other people. But I think it's not black or white. It's great. You can make both. Find, you know, a trend and spin it in a way that you like to make it. And for me, I always say I watch so much YouTube. Like literally, if I'm not making videos, I'm watching people's videos, and that really helps me creatively because there's so much talent on YouTube. Everyone always has a great spin on something. So I think I consume YouTube content maybe at least like 3 to 4 hours a day, and I feel like that really helps keep me creatively fresh, because you know, when you hear like a director, you want to watch more movies, you know. So if you're a YouTuber, it just makes sense to watch more YouTube and just to see everyone else's perspective and see, you know, learn things from them. Like you could learn from a channel that has 200 subscribers. I think that's an awesome thing, because they might have like a fresh perspective as opposed to always looking for people that have like big numbers. Like you can learn from anyone, and I think that's like how I stay creative.
I love that. And I'd love to talk about self-esteem for a second, because I think that you're someone who is very sure of who they are and has like such a nice, good presence about them. Is self-esteem, having positive self-esteem, something that you've had to work on, or does that kind of just come naturally to you? Do you have any tips for how, if anyone's struggling with that?
Yeah, I think the first tip I have for everyone is just to own your weirdness. I think that took me a little, that took me a little while to like get. Like when I first started YouTube, like I wasn't like super confident. I wasn't like yes, and I don't think not many people do start YouTube, because everyone is human. You know, we all have our insecurities. We all get worried about what people think of me. But my channel didn't start to grow until like I owned my weirdness. And like if you just like have a little bit of a look at like who you admire and who you watch, you kind of know like they have their quirks about them, and that's why you love them. And for me, like I was really lucky enough to have done a lot of really embarrassing things like growing up, to the point where like this YouTube thing wasn't really like as much of a deal. Like I remember back in university, for summer school, like we got forced to dress all up in white, head to toe, go out to the city, and then stand in the most busiest corners and sing like Dancing Queen just to the crowd. And like that's what we were forced to do. Like we went to every single popular place around the city and sang Dancing Queen. So like after experiences like that, I kind of feel like, you know, everything else kind of gets put into perspective. And if it's like something you are struggling with self-confidence, just try and focus on why you're doing it. Like why is it that you're making videos? Like, do you want this life where you become a YouTuber? And if that is your dream, everything else should kind of like not be as important. And you really just gotta focus, like put things in priority, perspective, and just make sure you're just remembering why you're doing it. And that's why I think everyone says like, start with why. Like, figure out your why, stick it up on a wall, write it down, and every time it feels hard, it's challenging, just look back on that reason and be like, yep, I remember. Like, let's forget about everything else. This is why I'm doing it.
Yes, I love that. Okay, I mean, anything else that you want to tell the group here tonight? Any kind of projects that you want to mention to people?
Oh, I have one, but I kind of feel like I can't say this right now.
Top secret, okay. You guys are going to have to stay tuned.
Yeah, so on September the 13th, I'm going to make an announcement. It is literally the coolest project I have done. So I can't talk about that right now, but let's just say I'm voicing a really cool character in a cartoon. Yeah, so that's a project I've been working on. It's really exciting, actually.
So exciting, and we don't have to wait too long.
No, next Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, Wednesday.
I think, yeah. So voiceover. Yeah, I got some weird voices, you know?
Thank you, everybody. Please help me thank Wengie for being here.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks so much.
Gotta represent, chasing shit, never chasing.
You're beautiful.
Mask on.
Thanks to Wengie and Kristen. Guys, thank you so much for coming to the first Vidcon Australia Creator Keynote. We had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. We're in the Roundabout crew.
And thanks Vidcon for having us. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks to YouTube. Thanks for Wengie for the lift home and just hang around. We'll need another one. This has been awesome.
This is some really cool stuff that Vidcon are doing in Australia, and the more support we get from you guys is the more this is going to happen throughout the future. So thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, Roundabout Crew, easy to spell. Snapchat, listen to our podcast as well. Guys, go and enjoy the rest of VidCon, and we'll see you around.
Enjoy. Thanks
Have a
for
great
having us.
night.